Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story has a bit of a wild title, so it's from Throwaway Son's father, who says, "My husband refused to answer my calls while I was in labor. My brother played a horrible prank. Now my husband is furious. I won't cut him off." So it starts off. "My husband and I got in a fight prior to my daughter's birth a week ago, when he casually suggested a paternity test for our daughter when she was born. To be clear, this was completely out of the blue, with no wanting or reason. I'm a homebody who works remotely with no male friends other than my brother. I told him that he was accusing me of infidelity, and he said he just wanted to be sure, and kept bringing it up until I told him. After 3 days of him asking and the stress starting to make me physically ill, I didn't want to talk to him and left to my brother's house. I called him while I was gone and tried to work it out, but he refused. After all this, I went home the next day to grab some of my things while he was at work, and I went into labor. I called him 16 times before calling my brother, who called him a half a dozen times himself, while on the way to pick me up and then on the way to the hospital. It was a horrible and traumatic birth. I started crowning in the car, and the doctor delivered my daughter in the back of my brother's van because I was too far along to move me. Before rushing me in, I kept bleeding. It was horrible. I hated it all. My brother's wife, who is a nurse, even told me she honestly thought I wouldn't make it. I also opted for a hysterectomy as it came to that, or something more dangerous. I only ever wanted one or none, but my husband wants a large family. I'm trying to bond with my daughter, but it's been hard. The point is that during this, I was returning from surgery, 10 hours after I called. My husband finally responded and asked why I hadn't answered his call. However, my brother had my phone and was so angry that he said, 'This is OP's brother. I'm at the hospital. She didn't make it,' and turned it off. My husband rushed over and got there when I had just woken up and started shouting until the security forced him out, and then didn't get to see our daughter until the next day because I was mostly asleep, and apparently they needed my signature to allow him back. My sister-in-law thinks it was horribly cruel, but that he deserved it. But my brother stands by his prank and says that he only gave my husband 10 minutes of the same fear he had felt at my side for 10 plus hours. Whenever he sees my husband, he also keeps telling him that I nearly died because we waited for him. My brother used to be mostly indifferent to my husband, but now he absolutely hates him. You can see it in his face whenever my husband enters the room, and he's been visiting a lot because he doesn't trust my husband to care for me while I'm still healing. My husband is furious that he won't apologize and that I won't make him, and yelled at me when I said that the only reason my brother had my phone was because he wasn't there. I am trying to be empathetic. I know he feels guilty. I've spoken to my therapist and she says the apathy I'm feeling is likely general and not solely focused on him from lingering shock from the trauma, but didn't say much about the prank. My mother-in-law has been texting me to say that my family is horribly cruel for the prank and that I should go no contact with my brother, and now my husband is saying the same. I just don't know what to do. I'm not in a good headspace. It's been hard to be in the same room with my husband, and I've been sleeping in the guest room with my daughter. He brought up the paternity once, and I just exhaustedly told him to either get out my face or go stay with his mum if he's planning on stressing me out even more. I really don't feel myself, and yes, I'm taking the likelihood of PPD seriously, and my therapist who has suggested that it might be PTSD too. However, I just want more opinions because I just don't know." Wow, and there is a lot in this story. I mean, basically accusing you of infidelity, asking for a paternity test, refusing to pick up your calls, not being there during the labor due to all this, demanding an apology, or getting upset even that you hadn't answered his call, and then getting upset at you for your brother not apologizing. And then bloody mother-in-law even getting involved and texting you and saying that your family is horribly cruel for the prank and you should go no contact with your brother. Oh my word. But Zealous Ideal Bird says, "Jesus Christ, your husband sounds like a piece of work." Normally, I would think what your brother did was very low, but I support this. My brother used to be mostly indifferent to my husband, now he absolutely hates him. You can see it in his face when my husband enters the room, and he's been visiting a lot because he doesn't trust my husband to care for me while I'm still healing. He goes on to say, yes, he watched his sister terrified, in pain, very nearly slowly bleeding to death, in agony, all because a selfish man-child of a husband couldn't give a fuck. Honestly, I think he's being reasonable. If this happened to me, one of my brothers would probably be in jail now. I mean, I know Redditors are quick to say divorce, but I also can't imagine why you'd want this in your life. I'd go no contact with your husband and his family, to be honest. Focus on healing and taking care of your newborn. It sounds like your brother and sister-in-law are in your corner. Cancer Athena says your husband wanted to punish you with the paternity test and ignoring your calls. He wanted you to feel bad. He wanted control. He knew the risk of labor at that time. Instead, he got punished by your brother. That's what he is mad about, that he lost. I don't mind what your brother did because I think your husband's behavior in a near-death situation warranted something extreme. Based on your post, your man is not a good person. You are a remote working homebody with no male friends. He gets you to take your brother out of the picture. He has full control to abuse and manipulate you when you are isolated, tired, now have a baby and have little support. The therapist will be the next to go. You should go live with your brother who actually cares about you. Your husband does not. You've gone through major emotional and physical traumas. You deserve better, and so does your daughter. These are her first weeks on earth. Go no contact with your husband and make him earn his way back in. Invomitus Rex says, I'm sorry. After everything that happened, your husband still brought up the paternity test after you gave birth. Christ on a bike, hun. You have so much reason to divorce this guy. What your brother did was pretty horrible, but honestly, under the circumstances, I kind of don't blame him. Your husband is self-centered on the extreme, and his selfishness put your life in danger. Your brother acted badly toward your husband, but was there for you in your time of need and has continued to show up for you since then. Your shitbag husband was nowhere to be found, and instead of giving you an abject groveling apology for how he let you down, he's doubled down on his paternity test bullshit and is demanding you cut off a loving, supportive family member when you've just survived a traumatic birth. Who the fuck does he think he is? Honestly, I wouldn't listen to the shit your mother-in-law says. She raised this asshole. She probably wants you to make up so she doesn't have to take him back at home. But after everything that happened, I don't know if it's worth even trying to forgive him. And he's certainly not acting like someone who thinks his actions need forgiveness. Oh, and you don't need to extend empathy to him because he feels guilty. He should feel guilty. And instead of apologizing for his actions, he's lashing out at his traumatized postpartum wife. What an absolute shit. Congratulations on your daughter. Hope you will treat yourself with respect you would want her to have in this situation. Very Distinctive says your husband is a loudmouth idiot who only cares about himself. Your brother was in the wrong pranking him, but two wrongs don't make a right. If your husband has a history of flying off the rails like this, then your child will not be raised in a healthy environment. You need to look at this incident and see it as a predictor of your future unless you do something. Either separation or divorce. Brown Dog Emoji says your husband is scary. All of this started because he suddenly doubted the paternity of his child and refused to back down. That's interesting behavior, given that he has no reason to doubt you. Either he's projecting his own cheating onto you, or the realities of being a parent momentarily freaked him out. My money is on the former. Why? Because he didn't answer your calls and he didn't care when the chips were down. You almost died. That's serious. Was your brother out of line? Yeah, a little. Under different circumstances, what he did would have been inexcusable. But obviously your husband needed some kind of wake-up call and you almost did die because of his behavior. If you want to save this marriage, he has a lot of work to do. But to be honest, between his accusations, his subsequent temper tantrums, and now his attempts to isolate you from your family, he does not sound worthy of your love. But then OP comes in with the update, which says, I can't update the old post, but since so many people reached out, I thought I'd make a new one. So I don't think this will be something we can come back from. I just don't think I'll be able to heal with him, because there is no way he didn't know it was me calling. He still hasn't told me why he didn't answer. I know I thought I wouldn't decide right away, but I actually don't want to forget how terrible it was waiting on him, thinking he couldn't possibly leave me like that no matter how angry he was. I took the time to think of that moment before it all went down and just how grossly betrayed and scared and alone I felt while the contractions were hitting and I was on my knees trying to breathe through the pain while waiting on the phone while it rang through. And I just don't think there's any coming back from that. I wouldn't want my daughter to think it's okay to stay with a man who destroyed her trust that way either. I will be contacting an attorney and will be meeting with them in the coming weeks. We had a prenup, so hopefully it won't be too hellish, I hope. I feel like this situation became even clearer when my friend asked me if I'd still trust him as the one to sign off on my medical papers, and the reaction to that idea was visceral. I wouldn't, and I want him to get off that legality as soon as possible in fact. There are roommates I had in college who would be trusted more. I would have never ignored so many calls from him consecutively, unless I had told him expressly that I was unavailable at a specific time, and even then. I feel good with my brother and sister-in-law here with me, especially so with her being a nurse and having been there through the birth. It's really helped us bond in a way that we'd never really had time to. I've also finally told my old friends about the baby, and they are alternating to come and help me out for the next little while. None of this even touched the paternity test, but I'll get it for the proceedings, I guess. So I guess he'll get what he wanted. Anyway, I'm safe and well, and my daughter is healthy and happy as a peach and pretty much an angel who is happy to sleep peacefully anywhere and took to the boob with ease, which is such a blessing since everything still hurts. Just making this decision has taken an odd weight off my shoulders, and my sister-in-law has been really helping us bond. Anyway, thank you for letting me write this out, and I'm not good at diaries or journals, but writing to people feels different, and it's actually brilliant for the clarity of the situation. Even my therapist said that I seemed clearer and calmer. I might try a diary again, as she suggested. And it's really one of those situations where I couldn't have seen it ending in any other way. It's like one of the comments said in this post is that, Reddit goes to divorce a lot. But I really couldn't see this ending in any other way. How can you come back from that? How could you trust someone after this? Look at that person, that you loved so much, and they've accused you of basically infidelity, ignored your calls when you was going through a hugely traumatic time. And even, when the baby's born and everything, he still brings up the paternity test. And then his mother-in-law is on your back as well. I couldn't see myself looking at someone in the same way again. But what do you guys think of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. This next story comes from Dices, who says, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my boyfriend have my bank account info to make a purchase?" And again, of course it comes with an update. "I, female 31, have been with my boyfriend, male 37, for 8 months. He has 3 kids and is a single dad. We're on pretty good terms regarding almost everything. When it comes to money and spending, we'd take turns to invite each other out weekly. We don't live together, obviously. Several times he had me pay for his kids' purchases. I didn't make a big issue out of it for the sole reason that those purchases were relatively small and all I had to pay was $30 to $60. The other day, he called me while I was at work and sounded like he was in a hurry. He said he just found the gaming device he's been looking for so long and wanted to buy it for his oldest son. I asked, what's this have to do with me? And he told me he was short of money and needed $300. He asked me to lend him the $300 and I hesitated but agreed. He asked my bank account info so he could pull the money, but I refused and told him to wait for me till I get there. He insisted and said he'd handle it, and all I had to do was just send him my bank account info after I ended the call with him. His insistence made me uncomfortable, so I still said no and told him to either wait or I won't pay. He got mad at me saying he didn't get why I was acting like this. He got so loud I had to hang up. I found him sitting outside after I went home. He was waiting for me and was extremely upset. He asked why I didn't just send him the account info so he could pull the money we agreed on. I told him I don't feel comfortable letting anyone have my personal info, especially when it comes to finances. He got offended and said, "I'm not just anyone, I'm your fucking partner." Then went on a rant about how he ended up not paying the gaming device after looking for it for so long, and now his kid is mad at him and it was my fault. We had a fight and then he left and told me I better have an apology for him and his son next time I call his phone. haven't had a call yet, but I feel like I acted stupidly and irrationally. I think I should have just given him the info he asked for. I don't know if I made the right decision. I was trying to think which gaming device costs $300 and is in high demand right now. I can't think of anything other than, the PlayStation 5, but that's a lot more than $300, I think. I mean, we might be talking about a Nintendo Switch here, but I think you can get those pretty easily these days. I might be totally wrong on all of that, but that just popped into my head as I was reading. I was thinking, what is it? But absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. He's been with you for 8 months and is demanding money to spend on his kid. And I hate to be harsh, but if he's that short on money, he shouldn't be spending that amount because you ain't going to see that back anytime soon. If he's short on that now, he's going to be short on that next month and the month after, most likely. And trying to rush you to send the info over, then getting angry when you refuse to do so. I mean, he got loud on the phone, so loud that it caused you to hang up. Think about that. And after you hung up, he didn't just leave it, apologize for, acting so entitled and shitty towards you. He turned up outside your house, sitting outside to have another go at you, saying, this is all your fault now. I'm not anyone. I'm your fucking partner. And carried on with the accusations that this is all your fault for doing this. And next time you contact him, you best have an apology for him and his son. Holy moly, I got the solution to this one. Just don't contact him again and just let him piss off into the distance. But Singing Stream says, oh hell no. You've been with him for only 8 months and he's already demanding that you lend him money and give him your bank account info. Sounds to me like those small purchases he got you to do for his kids' stuff were his way of softening you up so he could later on request a big purchase and you'd be used to it. So wouldn't hesitate. You didn't act irrationally, he did. If he can't afford it, he needs to wait until he can. I wouldn't give my own mother my bank account details and she wouldn't ever ask either, let alone a partner I've only been with for less than a year. A year is where the honeymoon period starts to wear off, where the person starts revealing their true colors and all their flaws. If he's acting like this at 8 months, during the period where he's still showing you his best side, what's he going to be like in a year from now? What's he going to be demanding then? What's he going to be telling you that you need to buy right now? He acted abusively by shouting and yelling at you when you said you were not comfortable. He trampled all over a boundary that any reasonable person would completely understand. So again, oh hell no. He should be apologizing to you. He acted appallingly. Not the arsehole. Total, not the arsehole. Lewis V25 says not the arsehole. That has red flag written all over it. The request to pay for his kids, red flag. The demand for money, red flag. The demand for your account info, red flag. The anger when told no, red flag. The demand for an apology, red flag. The waiting outside your house, red flag. The gaslighting, red flag. And only 8 months into a relationship to ask for money, red flag. With Zelle, Venmo, etc., there is no need to give anyone your account info. Please do not do this. It's how people get all their money stolen. You don't owe him anything. If you gave him the money, you may never see it again or the request will get bigger. $300 for a game is not an emergency. Rethink this relationship. It will only get worse. C says not the arsehole. Tell him to pound sand. Holy moly, we ain't had a pound sand in a while. You can also kick some rocks as well. And hide your checkbook because all the necessary information is on your checks. OP says, I have all my belongings secured, so I'm not worried about that more than how he reacted to me setting, in my opinion, this boundary. He hasn't stopped guilting me about it. It's hard to deal with, especially when the kids are involved. I love them and don't want them to think I'm not willing to help. And one more from MM172 says, not the arsehole. You've been dating this man for less than a year. Some partners wouldn't even have met the kids at this point, but he's regularly dinging you for expenses related to them, which I bet won't seem quite so small if you add them all up, even though he's the dad and that should be part of his budget automatically. Now he wants you to cover a major purchase that in no universe can be considered essential. He wants unrestricted access to your bank account to do this, and he somehow made you feel like the unreasonable one for trying to pump the brakes and propose alternatives. Throw the whole man out and really spend some time sorting through why you think you were the irrational one in this scenario. Otherwise, I worry you're just going to keep finding boundary stompers and won't figure it out until you're left with an empty bank account, shredded self-esteem, and nothing to show for it. So then OP does come in with the update, which just said, wow, so I've left this thread after the first hour, but got back to hundreds of people engaging. Well, I'm just amazed, and since so many of you wanted to know what happened, I've went to his place and talked to him and his oldest son. Turns out that the gaming device thing was a lie. He wanted the money for something else, to pay for one of his buddy's car repair. I was shocked when he confessed and said he had to lie to make it about his kids to get me to lend him the money. You can only imagine my reaction after this. I just blew up at him and left without giving him any chance to respond. He tried calling my phone, still trying, but I decided I want some space to think about what happened and really reevaluate our relationship. It's true that he had me pay for the kids in the past, but after what I found, I wouldn't put it past him that those $30 to $60 purchases weren't for the kids, as I haven't seen the stuff he said he bought for them. I'm in need of some space and quiet though I'm busy with work, but I do my best to stay focused. I, quite frankly, am no longer sure if I can move past this. It's just so unsettling that he has no issue lying to me and using me for money like that. I love the kids, I adore them, but he's just hurting me with what he did, and I'm not sure I could come back from it. I might just be upset right now and will need time. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just going to do a lot of thinking regarding the situation and see what happens. Sorry for the long text, but I wanted to let you know about the situation as a whole. Again, that's just a big nope situation to me. Firstly, he lied to you and he was going to give some money to his friend, which you was never going to see that money back ever again. Let's face that. And he was using his kids to manipulate you. I think that's just awful. Now, what do you guys make of this situation? I hope OP really does make the right decision for themselves and get out of there, because that just seems crazy to me. But what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved and just being awesome on the daily. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys, and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today